Okay, we're up.
What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is a round two DFS Showdown targets for the 2021 Masters, but really it's also a round one recap. If you are just looking for the picks, well, thank you everyone for joining us live. We've got some great chat already, but if you are just joining us for the picks, I'll throw a timestamp after the live show
I know
when we get into our
oftentimes
picks.
people
But
hate to hear us talk, so
I know, I know.
yeah, we'll throw it stamped down there. You can get our nice juicy picks, but let's chat about this round one. Woo!
Guys, I talked about Rose yesterday. I tried to convince Craig of it. I went back and I made that Hideki lineup after our live show. I almost threw Rose in there, but I didn't. But I still got my little sliver of Rose, so I kind of love it. Like I know he's not the most popular guy, but I feel like he's kind of like this decade's Ernie Els with the Masters, or you know
Well,
the Greg Norman, Ernie
so
Els, like Dustin Rose. Like,
I was watching for a
you want
little
to see
bit
these
this
guys win.
afternoon with my wife, who doesn't really watch any golf, and she is just talking about how like this guy is just like pulling away from everyone, and he had a 7 foot putt to win, and hasn't won it, and it was just like I was trying to like articulate how much that must burn you to have had a 7 foot putt, not to tie, not to make a playoff, like you had that chance to win, and then you go and then you lose that in the playoff. It'd be like Homa at Riv this year having missed
Yeah.
that putt that he had to win and then ended up going on to lose it. Um,
I'm not Peck. I'm not trying to brag. I'm not doing that well, even with Rose. Um, but no, and I completely agree, especially on 72nd hole of the Masters on 18, where the pin's the exact same place every year, and he like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And
That's
you know this better than I do. Did he bogey 17 or was it
yeah, that's when the whole crowd like erupted. Like the whole crowd.
for
Remember that clip?
Sergio?
Yeah, like they're or maybe Sergio birdied. I think.
He maybe birdied 18 and the crowd erupted when Rose was going to.
No, 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 no. It was something on
Oh,
17, and then
okay.
the crowd
Yeah,
erupted on
yeah.
18.
Anyways,
Anyways, that's in our Masters show. But yeah, Justin
yeah.
Rose.
So first things first. I have no exposure to Rose, but just I mean, a lot of people love to hate on Rose. I think our older brother, being one of them. But man, I honestly like. I would love it if Rose kind of got the Masters to cap off the career.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he could go. I mean, he could go to minus 11, like kind of shoot one or two under a day, or three under one day, even. Like he can kind of go in cruise control a little bit. Like he doesn't need to birdie par fours at all for the rest of the tournament, really.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I would say is I think he is still only like 25% data golf has him at probability to win.
Hmm.
So I mean that's awesome considering he would have started the round at one, maybe two, or probably
Totally.
one.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, it's he's put himself into position. Yeah, I totally agree with Peck. I think he is good for golf. I think that he does a lot of good things to promote the women's game. He does a lot of just good things. I think he's a good ambassador for golf. And I think he gets a lot of flack because he's a little bit vanilla, but
He's great for the women's game
I
for
like him.
sure.
Let's look a little further. Brian Harmon.
Well, us talk. So, MN Nice Cards kind of pointed out the little kind of text at the bottom of the screen there.
Mhm.
14 of the last 15 winners were in the top 10 after Thursday's round. So, when we look at this, let's look all the way to the guys that are negative right now.
Yeah. So to me, I think there's a couple big names. I think Webb Simpson, Patrick Reed, Jordan Spieth. Those are the ones that kind of stand out. I do. I mean, Hideki's there, but Hideki's recent form, he doesn't feel as dangerous as those other guys. Um, so to me, I think Webb, Reed, and Spieth are the real most dangerous. I'm definitely still stunting for Salatoris. I would love to see him maiden Masters win, and don't discount anyone here. But the,
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say is there are some guys that got morning wave preference. I mean, Hardman, Matsuyama, Zalatoris, Simpson, Bez, all those guys got the
For
the,
sure.
the
And I
best
think it'll be
wave.
interesting to see. It looks like it should be fairly balanced tomorrow, but I think it'll be interesting to see as that disappears into the rear view mirror and
Yeah,
we move forward how much that lingers. But man, I love seeing Brian Harmon up there, even though I have no stake in him. Um,
yeah, I'm kind of the
Hideki,
same.
kind of, it didn't. feel like, what was he at 4? I think he got to 4 at one point. It felt, and him and
So I
Webb, it
think
felt
so.
like they
He
kind
only
of
got that
linked
one
into the
bogey.
clubhouse. And I think that might have been in part, sorry, I'm ranting here, but it might have been
Hmm.
in part that was when it was at the windiest, was when those guys were kind of finishing their round and
Yeah,
the late round was
was
starting.
starting. Yeah,
Um, and so a few of those guys, it was kind of like what DJ was dealing with in his second 9 there.
yeah. I think also if we look at the other side here, Xander and John Rahm are very interesting at even. We got a call out to Cam Champ at even as well. Cam Champ might be one of these guys where he's very hard to predict on PGA Tour weeks, but he might just be kind of like that big game hunter because his distance does bring him into the equation kind of for these
At
bigger.
championship courses.
Yeah. And I think he might be one of these guys that kind of gets up for it too.
Yeah, I also thought it was really cool. I guess he would have teed
Him,
off somewhat early, but it was really cool that he went out there for Lee Elder.
totally.
Him, Bubba, who
Phil,
else was
we're
there?
out there.
Phil? Yeah.
Phil was out there. Yeah. Yeah. That was really cool to see. I mean, it's a big deal for Cam Champ. He talks about it all the time. He has the
Yeah.
sneakers and he tries to.
It's not something he does every once in a while.
No.
It's a cause that's a thoroughly throughout his golf career.
Yeah.
Other names there, no, but Xander and Rahm to me, if we're looking outside the top 10, 14 of the last 15 winners, these type of things are made to be broken. So if we're looking
They totally
outside
are.
that, I think Xander and Rahm are super dangerous.
The other one, Tyrrell Hatton. I mean, a top 10 player in the world that kind of drifted. I think he was drifting from like 40 to 1 outrights, 50 to 1 outrights, like 66 to 1 outrights. Like
And in
nobody.
part because of both, I think, a poor Masters history, but also a
Yeah.
poor major championship history.
His only missed cuts are all in majors, like
Yeah.
recent in the last 2 years or so. So I mean, it'd be kind of nice for him to contend because he does have he's building that reputation for himself.
Yeah. But no, to me, I think tomorrow, it's always talked about Saturday being moving day. I think tomorrow is a very important moving day. I think we're going to see with one person so far out front, unless he comes back to the crowd, then like all
Yeah.
of these other guys need to go and be like, I'm willing to chase him down. I'm going to be the guy. Like those people who are, whether it's Xander and Rahm at even, or, there's a bunch of guys at +1, +2.
Yeah.
They're 8 back. They're 9 back now. Like that's not something you're going to make up in a round. So if Rose isn't going to come back to the field, then they have to start taking those steps. I think that's going to be fun to see tomorrow.
That's what I mean. Like Rose can go 1 under, and then he can go 2 under, and he can be -10 going into Sunday and still have like a sizable lead if the course really does play this tough, because other guys might have 4 under, 5 under rounds, but to string 2 together to get up to him is going to be super tough.
Yeah. Now I do think potentially the course will not play. I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens with the rain. I do understand that they have the sub air and they can pull this moisture out. But it's still, if it's raining and you're getting people out there right away, there's a softness that is going to be in that top layer. Like it still might be firm throughout the whole structure of the plants, but there's still that little bit of softness in the top that's going to change how it plays. I loved how it played today, personally.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too. That's kind of the Augusta I feel like I grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I love seeing those balls from the back of 15 being chipped over or putted like into the pond there. Like that's exactly why this course is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Now,
It's
now
so
on
special.
that note, me and Adam and our older brother had a little bit of a back and forth about the 15th hole and chipping from the back, and I think all of us are on the same page that and I think Jordan Spieth actually came out with it after the fact that was as lucky as he has potentially gotten at Augusta National. That was hit. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Spieth holed out on 15 from behind the green. It was cruising. We saw Shane Lowry earlier with a chip that was not going as hard go right into the water. We saw Siwoo Kim also chipped into the water from back there. We saw, who was it? Bernd Wiesberger cut off the green. So Spieth was incredibly fortunate that went into the water. I mean, he easily could be at +2 here. So, but I mean, to win majors, you have to get breaks, and that might be his break for the week.
So let's talk about some of these guys who didn't get some breaks. Some of the round one headlines,
Yeah,
Craig.
and
So we talked.
I just want to give a shout out. Cantlay will shoot 5 under this morning is what Robert Hauser's saying. I think that's kind of a natural transition into the next slide, and people that need to
Do some work.
do some work to make the cut.
So doing some work. So right before we went live, I think this may happen 30, 45 minutes ago. Abraham Answer was assessed a 2-stroke penalty post round for kind of grounding his club in the bunker. It looked like he pushed away a clump of sand in his backstroke or in his practice swing. So he went from a 73 to
Was
a
it his
75.
practice swing?
It was just kind of like waggling. And then this like little
Because I
clump of
haven't actually
sand
seen
disappears.
I haven't seen the video. I tried to look at the shot that it was, like on
No,
Masters.
it's zoomed up right on the ball. Like it's a tiny.
Yeah, okay. I
clump
think
of
I
sand.
have seen. I thought I saw that. I didn't have a chance to look at it before we came live here, but I tried to look at the shot on Masters. The every shot.
Yeah, right.
Not every shot live, but you know what I'm talking about. And I couldn't see it, and so I was like, man, this must be like the most ticky-tack little thing ever.
Yeah.
And that hurts because I've got decent exposure to Answer. I mean, I'm sure it hurts a lot more for him, but
I think it hurts a little bit more for him. He now has a fight to get into the weekend. It's one of these things that kind of happens once a month in golf, where it's like you're not helping yourself. Like you're shooting yourself in the foot. We want to get more of the casual fan, of the general fan, of how people.
like the governing bodies, or in this case, the competition committee isn't helping themselves.
Yeah, it's just like it's ridiculous. There's 88 guys on the course. That could have happened to 5 of them, 10 of them were some kind of small infraction that gets picked up on a 4K camera, but it only happens to Answer. And
do you think his mom called it in?
I hope not. Maybe Vic's mom did.
Maybe Hovland's mom's just like, Viktor, can you pass this along to Abraham?
It's a shame because it makes almost no impact on the swing, on his score, on that shot, but it has a huge impact on his tournament and possibly his career.
I think they need to incorporate some type of so this is where I might go off the deep end, and I don't know, like, if it is incidental.
I'll give you 45 seconds.
No, I'm not going to go off the deep end. I just so if you don't know already from watching us, I went to law school. I am not practicing as a lawyer right now, but I might be soon. But essentially, language matters, and I think if you put in something like, if it is incidental, or if it doesn't, if no advantage is gained, the problem is that you introduce ambiguity to it, but sometimes having ambiguity is not the worst thing. Like, it's the same. There's in law, there's things that are subjective and objective, and sometimes you intentionally introduce ambiguity because it doesn't make sense to have a dark line test. So I think this is the type of thing where, did he gain any advantage from doing that? No, I don't think so. So why is it going to have such a detrimental effect on his tournament now? That's what I struggle with. I think they need to revisit some of these rules and modernize them for a 4K video generation of every shot being televised and all this stuff. So anyways, rant over.
I think we kind of agree. I mean, it's the same thing as like dropping a ball by your knee now. It's the same thing as, rules progress with every sport. And I think golf is just kind of crawling along, but they do want to become a more modern game.
And it's tough because golf is very different. There's, what is it, 89 people in this field? It's an 89 person field. So there's 89 balls in play. It's not like it's football where there's one ball in play. So it is different.
and 4 cameras around that ball.
And if you saw, who was it that hit in towards Siwoo Kim? Oh, Joaquin Niemann. Or didn't Sink almost got hit? I never actually saw that one, but there's a few people. So there's a lot of balls in play, and you might not even the one that hits you might not even be the one you're playing.
Okay, moving on though. So notable guys that.
So no, first off, let's get to the top one there.
Yeah, well, we already talked about Rose. He beat the field by 9.5 strokes.
But I've got a stat for you.
Okay.
So that is the most. He actually has one time. So I'm looking at data golf. So it's true strokes gained. It might not be, but that's the most that Rose has had relative to the field. Guess how many years?
How many years? We'll call it Like the last time he's done that?
Yeah.
I'll say 2018.
2011, the 2011
Oh,
BMW Championship. He
wow.
yeah, I think he had a 9.6 something. So it's an exceptional round that I think oftentimes, by the end of the week, we forgot about what happens at the start of the week, and
Yeah.
that's an exceptional round. One of the things that was interesting that they brought up on the broadcast, he has done this so many times at the Masters. Not necessarily this low, but being the first round leader. That it's just pretty cool how much of an impact he has had here without ever having a green jacket.
Yeah, I think who's that stat guy, Justin Ray? I want to say on Twitter
Justin
that's
Ray,
really
yeah.
good. Yeah, I think he said Justin Rose has now 6 rounds leading at the Masters, and that's the most for a non-winner. I think Greg Norman's up there with 5 or something.
Yeah, Norman would be up there.
But yeah, like 6 rounds, it could be a third
I
round.
feel like Rory might be starting to.
Rory's probably yeah. But yeah, okay.
Speaking of Rory.
No, yeah. Speaking of Rory, plus 4s. I feel like in the morning I'm like, oh, these are going to be like tied for 72nd, tied for like 78th, but they got in there at tied for 60. Really, with how the projections work, if they shoot even par tomorrow, they could be in the weekend.
Well, and I think the Sergios and the Rorys looks a lot better than it is compared to the Bryson and Louis Oosthuizen, because they were +4 when there was better scores to be had, and the other guys were out there when there were not as good as scores to be had. So fortunately for Rory, I don't have any Sergio, but fortunately for Sergio, it was a bit of I think I saw Steven Davidson maybe here. It was a bit of a Sergio no day.
Sergio no, or Sergio no. Yeah, it was a little bit.
Jason Day, another surprising one who
he looked really good early in this round. He looked really good.
It just kind of leaked away there. I think once conditions got a little bit tougher.
Yeah. Sung J M had a brutal 15th hole. I think he shot a 9 there or an 8 there.
And wasn't he?
He hit in water twice.
Did he hit it on his approach? I didn't actually see this, but I thought he might have been.
I didn't see all the shots. It was kind of during my pickup time, my daycare pickup time, so I didn't see all the shots, but I saw it kind of come through. But I think of this group, Craig, we got 8 guys there. I think it's fair to say 3 to 4 of these guys are going to make the cut. Maybe even make.
I think so.
It could be Day. It could be. I mean, Lee West would go. I mean, Lee West loves his scores. He could go out there and shoot 4 under tomorrow and be right in the mix.
Let's be serious. Rory is. Spoiler alert. Rory is neither one of our picks for the showdown, but Rory is going to end up tied for 5th in this tournament. Without a doubt, this has backdoor top 10 written all over it for Rory.
Absolutely, he's built for the scores. I feel like at some point we are going to get a Bryson. I don't know. Again, not one of our picks, but I feel like it just doesn't make sense how poorly he plays this. Like, because he goes so far offline with his drives.
Rory?
No, Bryson.
Oh, Bryson. So I was just saying, is Hayden, is that who you're shouting out there? I was just reading the chat when you were talking. But Bryson's game just doesn't work at Augusta. And I think maybe the hilly course thing is maybe something I need to look into more. What I was looking at, so I have Bryson as my one and done.
Right.
I was looking more at like this whole narrative of the long rough versus the short rough. And I think that Bryson, potentially there is something to the hilly course, and he's so systematic about how he comes up with his yardages that he puts a percentage reduction on shots from the rough to get his yardage for when he's hitting into greens. I don't know. Maybe he needs to figure out a little bit more these side hill, these uphill, these downhill, these elevation changes. Maybe he's a little bit off. But I thought from what we saw at TPC Sawgrass, that was the one that convinced me more than any other tournaments, more than the API, Arnold Palmer Invitational. It was TPC Sawgrass that I was like, man, I think he's going to do well at this sort of firm and fast or not long rough being the defense of the golf course. But maybe there's more to the hilly aspect of it than I have considered.
And I think Devin Davis makes a great point here. He said even though Bryson finished 34th last year, he still finished like in the top 15 or 11th in DK scoring. That's what we talk about too. I mean, that's why I talked about, I think, in our snake draft and all these other drafts, because he gets those eagle opportunities, he gets those birdies, but then he might finish the day, +2, but he has an eagle, 2 or 3 birdies, and he's still, +2.
Yeah, and you know what? I was thinking about it today. I know that whatever ends up happening for Bryson the rest of the tournament, it's going to continue to be a narrative with the Greens book. I honestly don't think the Greens book is that big of a deal.
Yeah,
A lot of
I
the
agree.
shots he threw away were
Off the
very
tee and
few of
approach.
them. I think were with his putter. I think
Yeah,
he actually
it
made a
actually looked
few
like
very good putts.
like
That
bogey saving
bogey
putts.
saving putt. Yeah, like he
Yeah.
could have put up a bigger number today than he did. The way he was hitting the ball. So to me, it was a bit of a floor day for Bryson.
So the other thing I love about Bryson, I'm going to go on a quick 30-second rant about Bryson and DFS, is the fact that everyone's like, oh, like he just needs to feel, like he just needs to, like, it's going to come off this way. It's going to like come around this way. But then when people are in DFS, they're like, well, I'm giving 10% of my formula to birdie or better percentage for par five. And then it's this pocket of approach from 175 to 200 greens and regulation that I think like
Yeah.
this is what people do. Like this, that's how we approach things, to try to understand things that we don't understand. We put like equations and formulas behind them.
For sure. And you know what? I think there's a lot of backseat driving happening with
Yeah.
any golfer. Like whenever I feel like you see this a lot with PGA Tour Live early in the day when it's
Sure.
feature groups and they're kind of struggling for things to talk about, and they're talking about someone that is all of a sudden maybe they're using Aim Point Express and they're taking a little bit more of a systematic approach to reading the greens, and they're like, oh, they just need to get up there and be an athlete. Well, like,
Yeah.
yeah, but DJ, as soon as he started using this, went on like potentially the best run of his career. So like, get up there and be an athlete. Like, I just don't get it. The one thing that I
Yeah.
do think has merit, though, that I think I'm a bit of a believer in, is the whole right brain left brain thing, where you essentially you practice and you work out your technique, but then when you're doing the actual, so say once you've figured out all your yards and stuff, you then just try to hit that thing. You don't try to think
Yeah.
about your technique in the actual event, but like when you're trying to figure out how you're going to hit it, that's where you
Yeah.
use all of the analytics.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Um, Big R Colts fan said, "Why do you think Bryson had a distance problem?" And I think that's exactly it. He flew.
His
He was
his
so
his distance
long.
control,
Like
his weight.
it was awful.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
awful.
totally agree. I don't
I
know
don't
why
know.
though.
Like it doesn't make any sense
I don't think
because
he knew why. When that exchange on 12, when
yes.
he
Yeah.
I forget, it was an 8 iron or 9. I think it was a 9 iron that he hit 15 yards deep. He said he was baffled, and to me that's interesting because
Yeah.
you don't see that reaction from him a whole lot. I don't think.
Yeah. Matthew picks are coming up. We like to talk, especially majors. We like to break down kind of the day a little bit more. I think it's a better holistic view than just DFS.
But should we
But
jump forward here
yeah, yeah,
into
yeah. So
the
let's talk
little?
about some numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
Round one scoring, 2.5 strokes over par. We've kind of talked about that. AM was a stroke better from PM. And then these numbers are from Data Golf, from the cut line projections, +3, +4, +5. Right now, they're looking at +4. You know that it's kind of simple. You take the round one score, you times it by 2. That's probably around where the field's going to be. Top 15 ties, obviously, to make the cut. What do you think, Craig? Do you have a prediction for cut? What the cut line is going to be?
No, I mean I think +4 sounds reasonable. I think it'll play difficult tomorrow as well. We're not getting rain until tomorrow after the round. So I think they're prepping this course in a way that if it gets rain, it's still going to be a good test. So I think it's going to play hard tomorrow. I think it's going to be. I don't think. I don't think it's going to move to 3. I would say that.
What?
Like I don't think it's gonna. I think it'll be at 4, or
Okay.
if it's
So
like even if it's what it was in the PM all day, then I think it could move to 5. But I don't think it'll be at 3.
yeah, I'm gonna go +3. I'm agreeing with Robert here in the chat. I think it's gonna be +3, and it's a little bit of a bloodbath for DFS. Let's call it.
Yeah, and I think Big R has a good point too, that there could be an advantage. We've seen this with other
I think
courses
that's fair.
where
Yeah.
the early dew courses play softer in the morning. It's just the reality of how temperature changes work, that it's a little bit softer in the morning. So I think we're attributing all of the PM increase in score today to it be a little bit, the conditions being a little bit windier and everything. But I think
Yeah.
you could make a good argument that it also might have been a little bit more receptive in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fair. Uh, Just about pick time, Craig?
Yeah, let's do it. You ready to jump in?
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
before we get
sorry.
into it,
Weather. Weather. I don't think there's any. I'm not favoring one side of the field or the other for showdown
yeah,
picks.
I'm going. I'm skewing a little bit earlier, but it's not necessarily because of weather. I think it just might be a little bit more approachable, a little bit damper. Who knows?
Yeah.
But really, hardly anything. Before we go into it, please hit that thumbs up. If you don't, or if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our channel. But hit that thumbs up. That's what we really appreciate for these videos. Craig, should we do it?
Yeah, we appreciate you guys a lot. Don't think sometimes because we get distracted, we don't. It's hard to keep up with the chat and talk here at the same time. But we definitely do appreciate you guys a lot.
So going into my first pick, and I'm also going to answer a question here. Brandon asked, what is the general strategy for round 2? I'm going to talk about my strategy here with JT, my first pick, Justin Thomas, 10,500 on DraftKings. He's 73 plus 1, 2 birdies, 3 bogeys. My strategy, the 3 guys I'm looking at, I think they did okay, but there's areas to improve. And the big area to improve is their par 5 scoring. When you want to score well in Augusta, you need to birdie the par 5s. Even Henrik Stenson went out there. I think he's the only person to get all 4 birdies on all 4 par 5s. You need to get scoring opportunities on par 5s. My picks didn't, but they still play. There's still enough good reasons to play them, I think, for round 2. So Justin Thomas, he had all pars on his par 5 scoring today in the PGA Tour for the entire season. He ranks 10th in par 5 scoring at 55%. This is a grid. We don't have stroke gain data for the scores. Augusta's not going to give that to us. We have fairways hit, and the right side here, the gray side, that is the field average, right, Craig?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just smirking at John Wiseman. I did hear the Jesus Christ, Justin. I forget what hole that was, but he sailed a drive. I want to say it was wide right, but yeah, I definitely heard that one. I was like, "Oh, you gotta be careful on the mics there, JT."
Hot mics, JT.
Yeah.
So the gray one there, the gray one over here, that is the field average. So the field hit about 9.24 fairways. The field hit about 10.26 greens in regulation and 1.67. That's putts per green in regulation. That's the stats you can find on the masters.com. So JT did not hit fairways. His approach game, guys, he's one of the best approach players in the game. So his green regulation is there. His putting is about field average, but I think that can improve as well. All of that is just okay for JT. He can absolutely go better. And he was still better than the field by 1.5 strokes in the later wave. So if he can get some birdies on par 5s, if he can hit some more fairways, he can absolutely go low tomorrow.
Yeah, I honestly I hope he does. I'd like to see JT get his green jacket. I think plus one's a good place for him to be after round 1. I don't love the price, I would say, is the one sort of...
It's up there.
And in part, I think because the guy I'm going to be talking about next, I like his price. You know, it's just... I feel like they've shuffled around some of these top guys' prices, but I think potentially it keeps his ownership a little bit lower because he's priced up compared to some of these other guys. Yeah, I mean, I think JT is always a good showdown play. He can go out there. He's got as much go low as potential as anyone.
Yeah.
But my first one here, I was trying to tell Adam today how much I feel like this guy is disrespected. Jon Rahm, 9,900 on DraftKings today. He is 5th. He's fallen down to 5th in pricing. And I just got to bring up this last point here first. The last 2 years, Rahm has plus 2.4 strokes gained. He's first. He's first in strokes gained over the last 24 months. This is a disrespect stamp. His last 3 times at Augusta, he's been in the top 10. So I think in part it is they use ownership from the previous day to as a way of determining what the price is going to be the next day. So I think it's likely because he was loaned yesterday or for today's round. But still, to me, it's just a disrespect. I am going to take Jon Rahm all day when he's priced 5th in the field. So what do you do today? 2 birdies, 2 bogeys, 72, even par. He was better than average on both fairways and greens and bang on average with his greens and regulation putting. But to me, okay, so here's where I come up with the disrespect stamp. His last 37 rounds, he has gained strokes in 34 of those rounds.
Yeah.
He's gained over 2 strokes in 20 of those rounds. And he's gained over 4 strokes in 10 of those rounds. So, it's just, To me, it's just this is playing with house money. This is playing with all the people that don't pick Jon Rahm tomorrow. You're playing with their money because his chances of just really providing value at this price point is so high. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think Jon Rahm is so constantly disrespected in terms of his game that he doesn't have if he had won a major by now, it would be in a totally different, the perception of him would be totally different. But because he hasn't, he's treated like he's still somewhat lesser than the DJs and the JTs and the Rorys. I mean, I know he's priced higher than some of those guys right now, but for how well he's been playing, he should be even higher.
Yeah, I totally agree. Craig, I had to sneak into Tums there. I feel like we're getting old. Let's start drinking for the evening. And like my whole heart feels like it's on fire. So I tried to sneakily sneak into Tums there, but sorry about that. So I was a little off track, but yeah.
It's because you were just your stomach was upset with this price for Jon Rahm.
Yeah. It's like, how could DraftKings put him under 10K? I can't believe it. It's
I need an antacid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's Jon Rahm. Don't overthink it. I'm not going to play him and JT.
I'm going to overthink it, and I'm going to play him.
Yeah, I just got to figure out how many lineups I'm playing and if he makes it.
Yeah.
Okay, I went pretty high for number 1, so number 2 and number 3 are going to be a little bit lower here, but Joaquin Niemann is 7,700 on DraftKings. He's 75 plus 3. I don't think he'll get a lot of attention because of that. He won 3 birdies, 3 bogeys, and a triple on the par for 10th. So last point here, he lost that approach shot on 10. It kind of just flared off to the right into the azaleas. He had to re-tee from where he was, about 220 out, like way out. Again, missed the green there. Couldn't go up and down. It's a tough hole, but basically one bad shot led to a triple bogey. Take that away, it's an even par round. Par 5 scoring, only -1. So again, he didn't take advantage of that. He's birdieing these par 4s, par 3s. You need to take advantage of par 5 scoring, and I think he can do that tomorrow. So again, where can he improve? Putting, field average. He can probably improve on that. He's a better than average putter. Fairways hit, only 7 of 14. Again, kind of like JT, square a few things away with the driver. That's easy to fix on a range session before round 2. If he can do that, better scoring. Greens and regulation, we know he's good at that. He's 10th on the PGA Tour in greens and regulation at 71%. In round 1, he only hit 11 of 18, like just above average. I think Joaquin Niemann is kind of a steal at 77.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, he was one of my sleepers coming in. I think I probably like him even more in showdowns than I do tournament long, just because of how streaky he can be. He plays hot too. I think. So I didn't see the triple, but I saw it happen. And then I think I was watching Amen Corner at the time. So he rolled in. Yeah. He rolled into Amen Corner right afterwards. Oh, no, like fiery. he rolled in heated. So I think that he's a total momentum player. If he gets good momentum early in his round, he's the type of guy that's going to win you showdown. So I love him as a showdown play all the time, and I like him this week. Yeah. My next one here, I just want to give a quick heads up. What I want to do, I see Jay Funk talking about his lineups taking a beating today. I want to hear some good lineups. So once we go through our picks here, I just want everyone, maybe look it up now so you can post it later. But I want to hear like what is your top scoring, like regular DraftKings DFS point lineup. Not Snake, not any other kind of weird other tiers or anything like that. Snake? Sorry?
Because I'm destroying you in the one Snake.
Oh, I haven't looked at the Snake we're in together, but I'll check it out. But anyways, moving on.
Guess who I have?
Sorry?
Guess who I have?
Rose?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where I said you jumped on Rose too early. Okay, moving on. I'm going with Viktor Hovland, 8,600. This is a steal to me. He was 71, -1, 5 birdies, 3 bogeys. Started off with a triple bogey. He hit more fairways than greens, which is a little bit unusual to me. And then he putt well. Adam was telling me before we came on that this might be a little bit sketchy because Viktor Hovland was all over the place today.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with this one. Like the stats, I love Viktor Hovland. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite players on tour, but the stats, I don't know, back this one up.
So I hear you, but. So
he's chipping in, he's dropping bombs to
he's putting off the green and then chipping in. Yes, I hear you. So he's 15th in pricing. So this is the case for him. I think Viktor Hovland is always a good showdown play. I think he is one of these people that has a ton of streaky go low potential. I mean, 5 birdies. He was second in the field in birdies behind Rose. He was tied with a few other people at 5. But you eliminate a triple bogey off the first, and he's in great shape right now. This is wrong. He is +1.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, okay.
I got the numbers wrong there, but last 41 rounds. So he's positive strokes gained, not quite as high a percentage that has been positive. Rahm was a little bit higher, but 34 of 41, he's positive. But I think Viktor Hovland is better than Rahm when it comes to sort of these outlier high end. So over 50%, 22 of 41 rounds, he's gained over 2 strokes. And in 13 of 41 rounds, so we're talking about a third of the time, basically. He's gaining 3.5 strokes on the field. So those are awesome numbers that I feel like those are the type of things that I don't really care if he made a triple bogey and he was all over the place. I care about the times that he's still making those 5 birdies and he has it without any of the low end. Like a guy like Viktor Hovland that's young and streaky and, what did he make, a quad there at the concession? I don't care about that. I'm gonna take that for the times that he makes all of those birdies without the bogeys. So you look at the overall last 6 months. He's 1.84 strokes gained total. That's 10th in the field.
Yeah.
15th in the pricing, 10th in the field in strokes gained total for a guy that makes tons of birdies. I will take that all day long.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted with the chat. The chat's blowing up. They all disagree with you. No, I'm just kidding. Hovland, I think he's streaky. He's kind of like Spieth light sometimes because he can make these big numbers. He can make tons of birdies. I don't like how the stats kind of fell for him the first day. We don't have a huge Augusta sample size. This whole tournament I've been leaning more on experience. He has that one low amateur kind of year. So I think I'm going to say pump the brakes for Hovland for round 2, see how he responds. And then I might hammer it home round 3, round 4 for Showdown. But I just don't know if I trust the price and where he's at right now.
When everyone else is pumping the brakes, I want to slam on that gas pedal.
Glad to hear you playing some DFS Linden. I'm also glad to hear you're killing it in one.
Oh, Linden G. I wonder if that's the Linden G that I think it is.
I think it might be.
Okay. Last one here for you.
Last one, Ryan Palmer, 7,400. Again, like Niemann at +2 or over par. I don't think he's going to get a lot of attention, not a lot of ownership. So I feel like he's a great showdown play. He went 74, 3 birdies, 5 bogeys, par 5 scoring. He's only even par. Again, like JT, he's all pars on the par 5 scoring. He can absolutely improve on that. All the stats, like his price got bumped up. Another reason why I don't think people want to play him. He was he's a very popular sleeper in the 6Ks. He got priced up for round 2. I don't know if that Tums is kicking in right away. So my apologies. But his stats all check out. He's 16th in greens and regulation, 70%. This is PGA Tour for the complete season. He's 23rd in scrambling at 63%. So he's hitting tons of greens. Even when he's not, he's getting up and down. He's scrambling to make par. He can score better so he had 3 birdies, none of them on the par 5s. He can absolutely score better. I feel like it's kind of, again, for Showdown, a sneaky kind of slam dunk play. All the stats kind of check out. Didn't hit that many fairways, 8 for 14. Greens and regulation are above the field, but not as above the field as he has been for the entire year. And his putter was cold. So the fact that he was +2 is kind of remarkable. So everything kind of checks out that he should improve in almost every category for tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I like it. Honestly, with a +2 from Palmer, I'm happy still to have him tournament long. I think we both,
as the last guy in
yesterday when we were talking, I think we both have him in our tournament long pool. So I don't know if he is. So typically as a showdown play, I don't potentially like him as much as some other guys because I don't think he is a sort of a volume birdie guy. I think of him as a little bit of a steadier grind throughout 4 rounds type of player. But, 7,400, I'll take it. Yeah, that's all I have on that.
You better. It's a great play.
My last one here, I am going Jason Kokrak, 7,300. So this one to me, Ah, man, I just love this play. So he was 8 fairways, 11 greens. He putt well. These are things he always does. He drives well and he putts well. He was 71 -1, 4 birdies, 3 bogeys. So this is one that I was trying to pump up a little bit coming in. I think his form was better than everyone was giving him credit for coming
Oh
in.
yeah, yeah,
The match play sticks out. You ignore that. He had 3 straight top tens coming in at 3 difficult tournaments, 3 stronger field
yeah.
tournaments. It was WGC at Concession, Arnold Palmer Invitational, and Players. And those are also like, if you think about those courses, those are demanding courses. So I like that. So he is priced 36th in the field.
Hmm.
He's a top 20 driver, and he's 8th in putting in the last 6 months coming in.
Yeah.
His overall strokes gained in the last 6 months, I think we're 29th when I looked it up. So there's value there. I think there's value in what he does well. I think he's kind of the savvy vet that's going to put himself in advantageous positions throughout the round. And
Yeah.
if the putter gets hot, he could be one of these guys that puts up a really good number.
Yeah, I like that you put Kokrak in here. I was kind of battling between him and Palmer, and ultimately I went Palmer, but I really like Kokrak as well. The only one thing, I think his fairways can definitely improve. Like you said, 20th off the tee. Eight, the
Now
putting,
he is one of these guys that is a longer hitter.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's not really an accuracy, although he is fairly
But
accurate for how
eight,
long he
eight,
is.
eight is still
Yeah,
poor.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's still poor for really anyone.
I would be pretty happy probably with 8.
Yeah, me too. The eighth and the 1.56 putting is
Especially
my
at Augusta today.
yeah, no, they seem pretty wide. I could butt my 3 iron out there.
Maybe in like the range
Roll
I
it
would be
out.
driving them, they'd be a little bit wider too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the tees that we're on. Okay, Craig. After all that, do you want to hear about my best lineup? I thought you were asking me.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so I think so far from what I was trying to keep up in the chat. So post your lineups now. I think Lyndon might be taking it here.
Yeah, 198. That's remarkable.
198. That must have Rose in it because
That's crazy.
I've
I
got
love
a
it.
158 that I was feeling pretty good about. That's a Morikawa Reed Webb lineup that I think it's got lots of potential. So we'll see where that one goes.
So please please hit that thumbs up, guys. It really does mean a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already. I makes me feel bad about mine. I'm looking through my best lineup's 149.5 right now. It's got
That's not bad.
Rom Zander, Sergio, Rose, Connors, and Leishman.
Rom, Xander, Sergio. What did we say he was
Plus
at?
four. It's plus
4?
four. Connors +1, Leishman even.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean you get all 4 through. That could be a great lineup. Or
I
sorry,
know
all 6 through.
the placement points is it all shifts so quickly the next 3 days here.
Well, and that's the thing. After round 1, like I'm usually more interested in like what is my weakest guy doing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The one thing, Devin Davis says Hideki 7.5 on Showdown, 7,500 on DraftKings. That's really surprising. I think so too. I think that is a disrespect for him. The one thing I would look at is check out his putting stats from round 1. I'm pretty sure he had his best putting day that he's ever had at Augusta. I would have to double check that, but I
The guy's
think
a
that
rock solid putter though.
yeah, that's sustainable.
Sorry, that
Just
was
like I said,
sarcasm. If
just like
anyone's
I
gonna
said in
go
our
out there and be like,
Discord,
man, this guy's a great putter.
just like I said in Discord after Leishman was 400, I'm like, yeah, chip ins and 40-foot putts.
That's sustainable. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Any questions? Let us know. What's your biggest sweat? I mean,
Biggest sweat.
does Cantley count as a sweat?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. You know who my biggest one is? I actually have another Rose lineup. There's 2 guys that I'm really looking at. It's Berger and Niemann, and I think they're both +3. It's outside right now, but I mean that's still a sweat.
Niemann, I felt like Niemann actually started to turn his round back in a good direction. So, I do have him in some of my top lineups, but yeah, Bryson's a sweat for me, I guess, too, because of the one and done. But
Yeah.
I think I have a lot of high ownership on those lower guys, and so Niemann might be one of my biggest sweats.
Going back to last tournament with Charlie Hoffman, kind of taking that victory lap in Thursday, that I only played 10% of him, and then he finished 19 under the next 3 days. A lot can happen in the next 3 days. Let's all not overreact.
And if your lineups are blowing up, there's always showdown.
There's always Showdown. That's right. Okay, Craig, I think that might be a good place to sign off. I think we're closing in on 45 minutes here.
Yep. Thanks a lot, everyone, for coming out. Appreciate it, as always. Nice to see an active chat. Anything else, Adam?
Absolutely. No, thank you all for joining. Same time tomorrow. I'll throw a timestamp on here for picks. Follow us on Twitter at Grandstand Golf. Join our Discord if you want to chat with us throughout the day. Live tournament chat is great in there. Also, just sharing kind of showdown picks and strategies and all that kind of stuff. Also,
Yeah.
if you play other DFS sports, I know that Jack goes on there as well.
Yeah, a lot of NBA chat that I don't really pay attention to.
Yeah,
Smitty TV, I don't actually know the round 2 matchups, but that's the type of thing that I think other people, if you're not already in the Discord, come check that out because there are a lot of people that chat about some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you bet. Okay,
All right.
thanks everyone. Good luck tomorrow.
Yep, take care, guys.